Hi, Inonge. Good to see you. Thank
Hi,
you so much
Austin.
for doing this today. We really appreciate you. Everyone was so moved by your story and impact at CellYea that it's had on Tabo, and we know it's a very heartfelt story for you. We know sharing this journey is very personal, and we believe it'll offer hope for so many others. And could you tell us a little bit about Tabo and some of the struggles he's faced over the years, and then share that with everyone here?
Yeah, certainly. Thank you so much, Austin, for inviting me to share our testimonial. So Tabo has schizoaffective disorder, and it's bipolar disorder and schizophrenia, the symptoms occurring at the same time. His struggles have been intense and overwhelming, not just for him, but it's impacted our entire family. And so he was experiencing severe psychosis and extreme mood swings. And there were long stretches of deep psychosis where he was just in his own dark world and totally disconnected from us. He's had multiple hospitalizations, and it wasn't just depression and anxiety, but we've been battling something far more for about 11 years. Had been for 11 years.
Oh my goodness. That is quite a story, and deep to our hearts. And I know that struggle, as you know my story, I've told you a little bit about that. And I struggled with medication and inundated with psychological problems before I found supplements. And this product, when we were developing it, I told you a little bit off screen, but it really had such a huge effect on me. And when I hear a story like this, thank you for sharing it. It really gives us so much hope to continue to bring this to other people. It did the same thing for me. It had such an amazing impact, this formula and product. What was it like for you as a mother trying to manage these episodes over such a long period?
It was terrifying. At times, it was extremely terrifying to just helplessly watch him endure days of psychosis. He was completely in his own hallucinatory world. He was self-harming, not sleeping. It was devastating. And as a mother, I tried to hold everything together, but there were moments where I didn't know how we'd get through the next moment even. And the medications, they barely dampened his symptoms. And it felt like we were just stuck in a cycle of managing crises.
Oh my goodness. I definitely know that cycle with medication and pharmaceuticals. Again, it's something that I went through immensely and ended up on almost 5 pharmaceuticals after getting through my childhood and young adulthood. And I really have a lot of empathy for what you're going through and what Tabo's been through immensely. Tabo's been on the pharmaceuticals for, it sounds like, many years. How did those medications impact him, both positively, I'm assuming, hopefully at certain times, and then were there negative consequences as well to those pharmaceuticals?
Well, Austin, it was a double-edged sword, because on the one hand, they would calm him temporarily, but on the other, the side effects were brutal, like extreme weight gain, pain in his liver, body aches and pains, lethargy, not being able to really connect with the world. And so he was often sedated, and he was unable to function like a normal young adult. And we were trading one set of problems for another, and his episodes of psychosis never really left.
Wow. I know about that, definitely. And I remember when I had gone through some sleep medications, I had experienced some hallucinations and things like that. And I know the power of those, especially being tested. On those, and then the treatments essentially were sort of like I felt like they were always throwing darts against the wall, blindfolded, or spaghetti against the wall. I guess there's many ways to put it. I never felt like anyone really understood me, and it sounds like y'all been through some of that as well. Did you feel like there was like a light at the end of the tunnel with these treatments, or at any point during the process? Like how did that feel when you were going through that?
Honestly, no, because after years of different medications and treatments, I felt like we were just treading water, and I'd lost hope that we'd ever see real progress or that Tabo would be able to live a normal, fulfilling life. I tried not to lose hope, but I would, I'd go through periods of hope, but yeah, it was a struggle. Like I had to really try.
Wow.
Yeah.
So I know that, when you first heard about CellYea, initially it was for you and you felt benefit from it. At what point did you decide that maybe it would help Tabo? What made you decide to try that, as you were going through the process with your own experience with CellYea?
Well, I felt that it helped me immensely. And then I reasoned that the brain is an organ just like every other organ. And because CellYea works on the cellular level, well, it should be able to work for the brain as well. And as I was taking it, I was reading the literature and the studies as well. But with Tabo, he was so psychotic that I couldn't force him to take it. So I just left it out casually. And one day he asked me about it and I casually told him about it. And I just left the bottle there. And one day he took it on his own.
Wow.
I couldn't force him because of the paranoia.
Inonge, how did you feel about trying something completely new like this? I mean, given everything else you had tried had not succeeded at this point, like why? How did you feel at the beginning of trying out CellYea, or even allowing, I guess, for him to find it on his own? How did that make you feel?
Wow, huge relief, huge relief. I'd always told my children that for everything that it exists in this world, the opposite exists. I'd always believe that every problem has a solution. So even though I was tempted to give up, I had to live by my word. You know what I mean? I had to not give up, even though I was so tempted to give up. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. I mean, you always are hoping there's an antidote. I see your point, and again, I've been through that in multi-year journey, and some of mine even it was like I felt I would get better, and then I would regress, and then get better. But each peak got a little better. So
yeah,
health is a journey, and there's so many things that happen, especially along the path to getting healthy again. Is really a roller coaster at times. And I'm so glad that you're sharing with us how this has helped you. You mentioned that Tabo responded to CellYea almost overnight, which is absolutely incredible. It's almost an outlier, and it's just really amazing. And it definitely can affect someone. We know that it has attributes that give you that immediate usefulness. A lot of the cellular aspect is like over time. It's a time-tested supplement. It takes consistency, especially with the capsule. Could you tell us a little bit how that was like? Because it's just incredible.
Actually, it wasn't almost overnight. It was overnight, and it was amazing. So early the next morning, he basically busted into my room, very excited. And there was this sudden shift. He was clear, focused, and calm in a way that I hadn't seen in over a decade. And the effects were immediate and consistent. I didn't think that they would be consistent. I honestly thought it was a once-off because it was so immediate. And I thought, is this really happening? And he hasn't been the same since. I mean, in the best way possible, he's been consistent. And after 11 stressful years, he's finally himself. He's finally who he was meant to be.
Wow. I mean, what was out of that, like, how were you able to really break that down? Because I'm sure you were like, almost, this is too good to be true. Like, how is this happening? Like, what were some of the most notable changes that stood out to you when you were like, oh, this is actually working?
So gone are his ADHD, depression, insomnia, compulsive behaviors, self-deprecating thoughts, paranoia, and addictions. They're all gone. Every addiction that he had, it's just gone. And what he's gained are impulse control, delayed gratification, I guess that's the same thing, joy of life, stable mood, motivation, productivity, and creativity. And especially he's social again. So yeah, it's huge, huge.
Wow. My goodness. So, I mean, it's his overall attention span, it sounds like, and his mental health has improved since using CellYea. And we anticipated a little bit of that with some of the ingredients. There's a lot of research on, for instance, saffron on mood enhancement, acetyl-carnitine massively with attention and focus. How have Tabo's attention span and overall mental health improved since using CellYea? Just in general, those two.
He's unrecognizable from who he was for many, many years. It's life-changing. His focus is sharper. His mood is more stable. His psychosis hasn't returned. And I feel like for the first time, we found something that actually addresses the root cause of his condition. And so it doesn't just address the symptoms. So he's more present, he's more himself. And I can't even put into words what that means for our family.
Oh man, I imagine. That's just it really is. It's deep in my heart. When you first called us and told me about the story, I was really shook by it because we running a brand and getting this to people has been a challenge for any startup to try to teach people about the benefits of a product that's actually never really been seen before. This is a multifunctional product, and most people they don't even know what that is yet. So we're out there educating people, and it's been such a tough journey as a CEO and co-founder of this brand to teach people about that. And when you called me personally, it really struck a chord because there are difficult days getting this message out there, and I felt like it was like a divine intervention. Like, Austin, you need to hear this right now to keep going. Like, make sure you get this to the people. So I can't thank you enough for sharing this. How has this transformation affected your outlook, like on Tabo's future? Has that changed?
Wow, a total 180, because I resigned myself to the fact that he would probably live with me for the rest of his life, that he would never be able to be independent. And now he's talking about going to college, or here in South Africa, we call it university. He's exploring what he wants to study, and now he actually has his own future. It's not defined by his disorder, but now it's defined by his vision. And yeah, so for the first time in years, we're actually thinking about what's next for him, and we're making plans for his future instead of bracing ourselves for the next episode.
Oh, incredible. That's so beautiful. Is there a particular area and you think he's going to study? And you mentioned it was hard to envision him going to college or finding a life skill. How's your perspective shifted?
Yeah, he wants to study music production.
Nice.
And he's very interested in chemistry as well. So we're talking about him getting a major, like one or the other, majoring and minoring in one or the other. And yeah, I don't even.
And he can come help us out.
I know. I told him, because he's really, I mean, he'd always had a talent with chemistry. So even when he was in school and struggling mentally, he picked up on subjects very, very quickly, but the mental illness really got in the way, Yeah. And so he's whole again. So now the conundrum is, what is he actually gonna pursue? Because he can do anything, now that his brain is healthy and getting the nutrition it needs.
So yeah, you mentioned it wasn't hard to envision him going to college or finding life skill. Is your perspective, I guess, massively shifted? It sounds like in a positive way. Then that you really feel this is possible now.
Absolutely.
Awesome.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And it sounds like he's actually also very positive about his future. What would you say to other parents? I know that's kind of tough to do because everybody has a unique challenge, but it seems it's so common now. Mental health is such a big part of our culture and society, especially post-COVID. It really amplified. We live in a very a world that has a lot of struggle with mental health. Seems like we're inundated by technology, and our bodies are trying to understand it, and evolve and adapt to understanding the integration of technology in our lives, which is never going to slow down at this point. So what would you say to other parents out there who are struggling with similar challenges, like managing a child with severe mental health issues? Thanks so much, Inonge, for sharing that. That's incredible. That again, that light at the end of the tunnel. It sounds like we've achieved that, and he's got some things that he's planning for his life. What are his goals now, like fully, and how does he feel about his future?
Actually, he wants to study music production and chemistry, and he's composing an average of 3 new songs with lyrics every day, and he's singing for the first time. And honestly, he's good at so many different things. It's just a matter of him choosing what he wants to do. So that's the new conundrum. What to do.
That is amazing.
With this new life.
Truly.
Yeah.
That's beautiful. Wow. 3 songs. That's incredible. It sounds like it's just like it opened up a floodgate. Probably been stifled. All this information is bursting out of him. And that excitement and finding that's amazing. We had,
yes, and
yeah, go
ahead. He talks every day about how he wants everybody to be on CellYea, especially people with mental illness. He thinks all psychiatrists and all hospitals need to give CellYea to the patients. He feels that.
Incredible testimonial. We are hoping to provide this as an alternative to many. And I think his story is going to definitely have a huge impact on people having a hope that there's light at the end of the tunnel, that there's an alternative that has no downsides, really. There's no side effects. And we really worked very, very hard as we were building this product to produce a product with no side effects, because some supplements do have some side effects, and going through those intricately to make sure that everything was the perfect balance, that it was at the efficacious dose, which is what's really one of the reasons it works. There's products out there that could help a little bit, but it's never quite enough, because most of those products are valuing profits over people, and we kind of have a different mentality here in our DNA, which is to value people over profits, and we believe that the finances will follow because we're doing the right thing, which is providing the efficacious dose, which is such an amazing impact on every dollar spent. Like when someone buys a product from us, they're really actually investing in their health in an authentic way. It's not just kind of, again, like drugs blanketing a symptom, but really helping to fundamentally go with the studies, the science behind these ingredients that actually had an impact on those studies. There's some products that I've developed in the past, for example, just to help audience understand, is like acetyl-L-carnitine was never researched to work at 200 or 300 milligrams. And most products that would have maybe acetyl-L-carnitine inside of there will be at that. It'll work a little bit, and it'll provide a short-term sort of Band-Aid, but it doesn't kind of fundamentally start to really aid the cellular health and produce an impact that starts to last over time the more you use it. And when you hear someone it actually works on, it really is huge for us. We saw it work on athletes. We really saw it have a huge impact on athletes like Jonas. but like for me, I'm not an athlete. I like to work out, but it wasn't really that. I was noticing like, whoa, there's something odd with my mental health here. And even actually some of the initial investors, they were saying things like, this is not a pre-workout, but for some reason it motivates me. We almost called it the motivation mix because it has like this really odd ability to kind of just motivate you also, where you're like, you feel like down, you don't want to do something. It wasn't from overstimulation. So that was, again, like that balance where products get overstimulated. And so you have to displace that energy. But then what do you have? A crash. So you're back on the roller coaster. And we tried to find a balance where it wasn't a basis of overstimulation, but an ability to raise the mood, decrease cortisol levels, increase some things that help intermuscular aspects, increase blood flow to the brain. Lots of logic went into this thing. And it's amazing to hear, again, that it's not just for athletes. It's really extending way beyond that. And I had a feeling it would, especially with Tabo's story. I believe it can really inspire a lot of people to give this a shot.
And
yes.
You said that a nickname is motivation mix. That's something that I forgot to bring up. Tabo is so motivated, and he feels like
interesting.
Like he can sit still for the first time, but he can't sit still because he needs to produce something. So he feels really motivated.
Wow.
I personally, I don't even need to take a capsule every day. I can take one every couple of days and it'll last me.
Wow.
Even with his mental illness, he doesn't have to take 2 a day. He only needs 1 a day. And yeah, absolutely. It's very motivating. It for me, it does something to my brain where it makes me want to be productive. Like I have to be productive. It's and another wonderful side effect of CellYea for Tabo is he doesn't overeat anymore. So without the CellYea, with the pharmaceuticals, he had this ravenous appetite. Wow. And now he tells me that CellYea tells him when to stop. It prevents him from overeating. It's like it's helping his body maximize the nutrition from the food.
Yeah.
You know? So it's really, even though the pharmaceuticals put weight on him and increase his appetite and do all sorts of weird things, the CellYea is still helping him. Hopefully someday he'll completely be off of the medications, but he's been on them for so long, we're not going to go cold turkey because we don't know what's going to happen. But he says that CellYea does for him what the pharmaceuticals should be doing for him, what the pharmaceuticals promise to do. CellYea is doing, you know, and he just feels like, we're being careful right now, but he's like, he feels like the dosages of his psychiatric meds feel too strong now because he doesn't need the high dosage anymore that he used to need. Is that making sense?
It absolutely, it absolutely makes sense. When I was using supplements in general, before something like CellYea was ever around, and I got into this making things to reverse engineer my own health, the same thing. And I remember I went to doctors and I was very adamant. I was like, I really don't think I need as much now. And we whittled down. I can't remember how much Adderall, like the milligram dosage. Wildly, I was on a really low dose. I found out later on, or people are really just overusing it. I think I was on 20 milligrams of an extended release daily. And then he had taken me down to giving me like 10 milligram capsules, for example. And that was just the one drug. I had others like, I couldn't sleep because of the Adderall. So I was taking things like a tranquilizer called Klonopin, and same thing with that. And they really, all these drugs are so dependent. And I was like whittling down. Like I remember I started cutting the Klonopin in chunks. And so I didn't cold turkey my journey. And I wonder You know, if that's something y'all could consult with your doctor on and try to get some guidance as, is there a way to do this, you know, without, you know, completely, you know, I don't think you should just directly stop. And obviously you want to consult your doctor, but I wonder if there's a way that they could consider some of this.
Yeah, that's our plan, is to, the next time he sees his psychiatrist, talk about bringing the dosages down, because he says, honestly, they feel too strong, you know, which means he's much healthier now. Yep. So, yeah. Wow.
And the appetite thing is quite interesting, because for me, it was actually, you know, on some of the things I was on, it was actually the opposite. It was everything tasted like cardboard every day for years and years. I had, and it's wild because you know how much I love food. I've told you about that. You know, we used to cook here and have meal prep, and I'm very passionate. I think it came from that. It was like like Tabo with music was like me with food. Like I was like, I could taste things again, and it made me just love cooking. So I think there was like a creative expression when I felt free all of a sudden, and it really came out. So I associate with what he's going through. And I'd like to talk about—
he loves cooking too.
Does he?
He loves cooking. Yeah, it's like my time is being freed up. This morning he was talking about all the dishes he knows how to cook now, and he cooks really well. So
amazing. Yeah, that's amazing. Yeah, I'm sure there's some very amazing spices there in South Africa, and some things that are accessible that we don't have here in the US. I love doing that. I remember when I go to other countries, it's so fun to, wow, this pepper looks the same, but it tastes so much different. It's amazing, the flavors of the world. Well, I have something as well. Like for my parents, they wanted to just, it's so challenging to navigate. And the way I had ended up on those pharmaceuticals on my personal journey was that my parents were just wanted to do what was best. And it's a really, really difficult thing to navigate. You know, you sort of told that this is the only way and there is no alternative way. No one ever told me nutrition mattered, like ever, in my childhood. Like fundamental mistakes that were being made that my parents weren't aware of. And a lot of the age of information was still behind and lagging, and internet was coming and growing. And so there was information, but a lot of it was like challenged or, you know, misinformation, or there was so much going on. And my parents really trusted the doctors at the time and psychologists. And it was such a intense journey. And it just really stacked, and they just were in tears and in shambles. So I know really, I have empathy for what you've been through, because I watched my mother really just pray and over me and really want a different life for me that was occurring. It was sort of a downhill slide constantly. And I think it would be great to hear from a mother, you know, like, because I can't speak for my mother completely. I'm telling you a little bit about my side and my story and watching what my parents went through. And I remember when I told them I was reading all these contrarian nutrition books and really getting into the biochemistry and understanding what I was going through so that I could crack my own health and code to be able to be where I'm at now, which is building these products. But they were like, "You're crazy, you know, you can't do that." So, and they were just fearful, and it's because they love me. And I understand that, but it worked. And so now they also believe a lot of the things I believe. So I've been able to actually help them in their pharmaceutical lives and things that they've had to use in their bodies. And it's been a really incredible journey for me, helping even my family now, and turning all these ideas on their head. What would you say to other parents coming from a mother that are struggling with these like similar challenges, like managing a child with mental health issues?
I already just have them take the CellYea as well. And also consider that mental health or mental illness might not be what we're educated to believe it is. I've come to the conclusion that mental illness has got a lot to do with poor nutrition to the brain, and probably also maybe allergies or histamine on the brain. But to really heal you've got to get to the root of the problem, and usually it's nutritional, or there's something, our brains function on chemicals and their hormones and all of that, but the only way to really heal the root of the problem is through nutrition. It's through nutrition. I'm kind of blown away by how most of us understand that our body needs nutrition to be healthy, but where is the conversation in popular culture that the brain needs nutrition to be healthy? So, yeah, I would just recommend have your child start taking CellYea as soon as possible, and take it for yourself as soon as possible, because when your child is mentally unwell, it does affect your mental wellness as well. Because I really struggled with my mental health, taking care of him, because of the unpredictability and the psychosis and the fear for the future and the stress and the tension. I personally was falling apart as well, and I found CellYea has helped me tremendously. Yeah.
On that note, I think it would be helpful. You already mentioned it, but because of what you're saying, which is amazing, thank you for sharing that, is that you had mentioned dosage and how you use it and how Tabo's using it. And we have found from other customers, like, based on their weight and things like that, we have a lot of customers use a half a stick pack per day and maybe take their capsules, like 1 capsule per day, things like that. And even, if somebody was maybe younger, they might even take a 30% of the stick pack. There is caffeine in this one. We plan to do maybe a non-caffeinated one, but the caffeine does seem to benefit. It's a natural caffeine. It's not a synthetic caffeine. So it seems to have a lot of also benefit on the formula. But we want to also offer that alternative one day. But what would you say to parents, maybe if they're younger, like how would you maybe go about utilizing this supplement? I always say start slow and build up and just see where you're at. But what would you say to a parent concerned with maybe how they would even use it?
The advice that you just gave me, or what you shared with me, I would share the same thing, where, 1/2 a pack a day might be enough of the stick pack. Just to try it, yeah, to start off slow and just see how you feel, but definitely of all natural ingredients, Yeah, that's the advice I would give.
Incredible. And what advice would you give if they're like hesitant to try it? Do you have any aspects, like if, in general, hesitation with trying something new like CellYea?
I would give my testimony, my testimonial. I'd start with Tabo. I mean, it's incredible. Like 11 years of consistent psychosis with every once in a blue moon, a few moments of lucidity, but for the most part, low-level psychosis or really, really extreme, intense psychosis, going for 10 days at a time, not being able to sleep and having to be, tranquilized in a hospital, and then it taking a week to 2 weeks or sometimes even months to get stable again. If CellYea can do that for the brain of somebody, it's just incredible. I don't even, when I think about it, where we are today is where I couldn't have even hoped to have dreamed for, or to have imagined for. It's far beyond my wishes for him to be this healthy, this productive, this happy, this connected, this social, motivated, productive, creative, and stable. Again, it's beyond my wildest hopes and dreams. So, and mental health is a very, very extreme. Psychosis, schizophrenia, schizoaffective disorder are really devastating and catastrophic, really, really catastrophic. So yeah, I would just encourage them. There's no harm in taking it, and there's only good. And maybe they or their children won't see effects as quickly as we did, but just stay consistent with it. It's nutrition. The brain and the body need that nutrition. The cells need the nutrition.
Wow. Well, thank you so much. This is just amazingly powerful testimonial for the product, and just also just so heartening. As I mentioned, for me, my passion for helping others, and that was why I started this journey, was similar to Tabo's story. And it's such a severe case, and to know that it can help even at that level is just really given me another boost of energy to really make this this life mission for me, our team in general. Our team is just so dedicated to really doing the right thing and getting the right nutrition to people and the right education around nutrition. So this really gave everyone a boost. All of us, thank you from the bottom of our hearts for doing this interview. We know this was very close and personal, something to share. Is there anything else that you would like to add, Inonge?
Yes. Tabo was hospitalized for 6 months straight at one point.
Oh my goodness.
6 months. And I was told that he might be in that mental hospital for the rest of his life.
Oof.
So,
wow.
Yeah, I don't have any words to express how grateful I am for CellYea. It has turned our lives around. I just don't have any words to go from being told that my son would be institutionalized for life, and now he actually has a real proper life that he's enjoying, and he's productive, and he's looking forward to his future. And something about the schizoaffective disorder is he was in so much mental and psychological pain that he couldn't care about other people, but now he is who he was always meant to be. So he is conscientious and helpful, and what's the word? All of the good things. All of the things that a parent hopes and wishes that their child would be: an all-around good person, fulfilled, being a positive contribution to the people around them and to society. Yeah, you saved his life, honestly.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, thank you.
Yes. Wow. I got chills right now. Just a wonderful story. And I hope we can get this story to many, many people. Tabo is going to be a hero to many. I really feel that. Such a profound story that he has. Thank you so much, Inonge.
Thank you, Austin. Thank you.
It was good to see you. And I think we can follow up soon and discuss. And we'd love to keep in touch and continue to share the story of Tabo's journey and see again how it evolves. I think everybody, if they've listened to this, then they're going to be very curious. Like, wow, how much further will this go? And I'm sure that everybody's excited to continue to hear Tabo's story as it evolves. So wonderful, wonderful news. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Austin. Thanks.